Ya van días y varias semanas.
He hasn't given no response, and it's been days, and it's been weeks, and he You think, Sarah, this canyon right here?
It's absolutely incredible. I haven't been to Tijuana in a lot of years, and seeing how wide open it is. I mean, I don't know if you could turn the camera around and show everyone just how wide open it is. It's incredible.
A couple of questions. So. Rashida, what is your opinion on the massive child trafficking that is happening? Y espero logren su objetivo de la justicia a su país. Luchen por su país. Say that basically fight for your country. Están bloqueando el acceso. ¡Viva! La Policía Federal o la autoridad nos está deteniendo el acceso y nos está deteniendo el paso para poder cruzar hacia el Zócalo, señores.
How's everybody doing? Good evening to everybody in the East Coast, Central Time, and Mountain Time. God bless everybody that is watching over here in the Pacific Time. It is 11:08, and today is the 1st of July, people. Wow, man, 7 months into 2021, and we are broadcasting you live from Tijuana, Mexico. Oops, the screen right there. There we go. Broadcasting you live from Tijuana, Mexico. I'm your host, Oscar Blue, independent reporter and broadcaster from our country of Mexico, binational and bilingual reporter for you guys. Welcome to our platform. Thank you so much for joining. God bless our country of Mexico, our city of Tijuana, and God bless the United States of America. Let's thank God for giving us 2 legs, 2 arms, a mind that we can think, a heart that we can feel, and eyes that we can see. We have a bunch of topics today. And I will do several. I believe that I will do 2 more live feeds today. But we have a lot of news, and I had a bunch. I had a lot of work. And these couple of days have been really exhausting because all of the emotion that is being brought by legitimate cases of asylum, it is really, my God, man. It's just amazing how all the emotion it's too much, man. It's just really too much. And yesterday we had 2 days ago, I believe so. Yesterday we had an interview. 2 days ago we had an interview. I'm sorry. 2 days ago, we had an interview with a Colombian migrant. Get to know the most important thing about this interview. It is how the organized crime it is controlling every border. Why am I bringing this to light? And before I start, I will advise the people that are joining in the live feed. God bless everybody that is watching. Please be respectful with your comments. Try to learn about the situation and try to learn about what is asylum, what is refugee, who qualifies and who does not. Rosa Maria Solano, saludos para ti. Let me address this comment in Spanish. Sí hay enfermedades ahí en el campamento migrante y ahorita lo voy a decir en inglés, voy a hacer después un video en español. Si me gustas esperar cuando termine en inglés, con mucho gusto te digo. Saludos para ti. Dios te bendiga. Yes, there's a lot of topics that we need to discuss, but this is a Colombian migrant who talks about how terrorists from the Middle East are going into Colombia to train the guerrillero groups, that these are leftist radical groups. Look at this. And also he says about the mass migration and how the organized crime that is over there, La FARC. If you guys remember, William Barr put a bounty on Nicolas Maduro's head, that is a socialist dictator of Venezuela, put a bounty on him for $15 million. He put a bounty on him for $15 million because he knew that Nicolas Maduro was involved with La FARC, that is an extortionist, the greatest developer of cocaine and distributor of cocaine in the world. So La FARC has taken over the security of the citizens and the borders between Arauca, Colombia, and Apure, Venezuela. That is a hot seat border, man. This is where these people are coming from. They're coming from Arauca, Colombia. And they know all the activity and the illegal activity that is occurring right there. What is my whole point with this? What is happening in Venezuela and Colombia is an example of what is happening right now in Tapachula with Guatemala. And it is a wave and it is a domino effect, as I have been saying consistently, of what is going to happen to the United States of America if they don't protect their border. If you don't have a border, a country does not exist. If you don't have a law, a country will not be respected. If you don't have immigration law, a country will be completely colonized and destroyed. That is a reality. So my whole point is to bring these topics into light, for you guys to understand that this is close to us. It's already in Mexico. It's already here. Our borders are completely destroyed with organized crime and cartel activity, and you guys are seeing it as I'm bringing into light news that people are getting killed, assassinated, dismembered bodies. All of this kind of situation that is happening in our country is already near your border, and it's already in your border now acting. The organized crime has taken over little by little the law, and also polluted politicians, crooked officials, and some other crooked border patrol officials. Also, do not get your feelings hurt. It is a reality, and it is the truth. This is part of the interview with the Colombian migrant, as I am going to be translating what he says about his experience or what happened to him. And inevitably, it is something amazing. This man was working as a supervisor for, for special construction, construction places that the government was sending him to work. He used to work for the government. So the government used to give to private, companies some amount of money to work, the land and to fix the roads and all this kind of stuff. La FARC, the organized crime, knew that this guy was the supervisor, and they knew that this guy was the one that it was possibly managing the money, millions and millions and millions of pesos, and immediately they try to extortion him and kill not only him, but his wife, as you see him right here. But the questions that I ask are particularly to you guys to understand that what is happening and what I have been saying about the continent of America transforming into a communist country, it is already a reality. Look what he says also about Colombia. He says Colombia is turning into Venezuela little by little. And what he says, what is going on in Colombia, it is also happening in the United States of America. You want to know what? Censorship, violating your freedom of speech. This is communism. This is how it destroys countries. Listen to this interview. And after this, we're going to speak about how there is a measles spread, chicken pox, whatever you want to say it, varicella. I don't know how to say it in English. I think it's measles in the migrant camp. Also a COVID spread over here in Tijuana. A complete disaster. Also a mother that is accusing people over there for almost raping her 2 times. What are you doing still there? Go to a shelter. And also, the solution, they're about to remove that migrant camp, as we were there 2 days ago, reporting on the disastrous disorder that exists right there and how these groups of activists from the United States of America have completely destroyed the purpose of a migrant camp that is to help, supposedly. But it is a complete disaster. They have taken over a land of Mexico, a port of entry, an international port of entry to the country of the United States of America, which is violating our law. And ultimately, it is a complete disaster for everything. It is a disaster, that migrant camp. Let's go to this interview right here so you guys can hear what this migrant tells about his story. I was a supervisor of civil, construction workers. I had arrangements with the government to do, civil works in Colombia. And also, I used to work at a ranch. I used to ride horses and do, I used to be a rancher. I used to ride horses. And it's a sport. But all of that ends in a shut-eye. I got stopped by La FARC. I got stopped by La FARC in the middle of the road. Me and my wife, we got stopped by La FARC. And they told us, what's going on with the money? Of the extortion of the company that we are trying to extort. So this is so ridiculous because La FARC, it is an organized crime. It's kind of like the cartel. It's almost exactly like the cartel over here in Mexico. And they stopped this guy because he was in charge of a big construction company. And they told him, what's going on with this? This guy is an engineer, for everybody to understand. And he got stopped by La FARC, and they said, what's going on? Extortion is the greatest. You know what is happening right now in Michoacán and Guerrero? I have been telling you guys this story. Michoacán and Guerrero has been taken over by the cartel. And the cartel is taking over Michoacán and Guerrero by extortioning the people. And if you don't comply with what the cartel says, you're going to get killed, assassinated, or tortured. It's exactly the same thing that is happening over there in Colombia. And this is a wave that is going to the United States, not to panic everybody or create hysteria at the border like the tabloid writer says. This is reality news, man. We're not going to sugarcoat this stuff. This is reality news. How's everybody doing? Welcome to everybody. Buy me a coffee is on top of the link. If you guys like to contribute to our work, independent reporting, buy me a coffee is on top of the link. We're live at YouTube and we're live at Facebook. Also, PayPal is on the description box. Thank you so much. So we go right here, what he says. I stopped working for that company because of the extortion a year ago, and they stopped me a year later to say, hey, what's going on with that extortion money? And they call it the collaboration to the cause. There's not extortion. They call it collaboration to the cause. Oh, my God. I don't work with them, he says. And he says, well, who's going to pay for us? We cannot lose that money, the FARC says. The organized crime says. My wife crying in the car. Asking them for not take my wife. So the organized crime tells him, I don't care if you work for them or not. You go and tell them that we need that money, but your wife stays and the car stays. So that inevitably, he got away in some way. So they pardon his life at that particular moment, and he gets away. He leaves that part, and he says between a part that is called Tame and another part of Colombia, he gets stopped again by 2 youngsters at a motorcycle. And a phone call enters my phone. And a friend of mine that he used to live in that area, nobody knew that I was in that area. A friend of mine called me and he says, hey, where are you at? Are you around the neighborhood? And nobody knew that I was around the neighborhood. So how he knew that I was there? And he says, you know what? Yeah, it's because 2 people in a motorcycle, they just arrived here and they want to talk to you. So this was La FARC extortioning this man for his case of being allied to a company that he doesn't even work anymore. And he says, automatically, I'm cold, you know, when they say that they're looking for me again, when I did not work for that company anymore. Between the roads of Saravena and Tame, that is our cities, municipal cities in Colombia. You know, he's saying two people on the road. He's saying two young kids. This is exactly what is happening in Mexico. The cartel, it is recruiting the children, is recruiting the minors, is recruiting the teenagers. The cartel, it is recruiting the children. They're going to the ranches in Michoacan, and they're telling the youngsters, if you don't collaborate with us and if you don't want to work with us, you basically are going to die. I'm going to torture you, and I am going to completely eliminate you from the face of the earth. Really, like that. So you have to, you don't have no other option. The other option is for you to just basically, you know, ride on the wing of these people. So this exactly happened in Colombia with this man.
Ya del 2019, un año más o menos, yo había empezado a trabajar con esa empresa. No había una forma de ellos intimidar y apretar es que llegan tipo 5 de la tarde cuando...
You know, and he said that back in the day, when he was working at the company, the same situation happened immediately. It happened immediately because it says the same situation happened. A man got killed with 15 shots not in front of me, but it was the man that it was in charge of the money. As this man that it was in charge of the money that got killed with 15 shots, it was a message to me that they were coming towards me. Now, why am I saying this story? It is border security that we are continuously talking about, how the organized crime is controlling border security. This is when you don't have security at the border. This is when you let the organized crime take over a border. This is when you let insecurity become a regular fashion in your life. This is what happens in Mexico. And ultimately, they're trying to do it to the United States of America by mass migrating people through mountains, through seas, child trafficking, bodies being dropped on the other side of the wall, children being dropped on the other side of the wall, and make it normal for Americans to take this as a normal day basis. You know, this is like normal for people, to make it normalizing the situation. And if you normalize the situation, this becomes something on your daily day. So you don't worry about it. You hear a dismembered body and you're like, oh yeah, I heard about that. You hear a chopped up head. Oh yeah, I heard about that. You heard a businessman being extortion. Oh yeah, I heard about that. It happens on a daily day. Let's go to work, John. This is what the left, the radical left around the world, they want to bring. Remember, communism, Karl Marx says this: for order for you to win in communism, you got to create confrontation and chaos. This is chaotic behavior at every part of the world, and is already in our continent, and has been in our continent for the longest time. This is one story of a million stories, but it's now is more important than ever that we fall into the narrative that we need to protect our borders consistently and constantly, and make a immigration reform for every country, for people to migrate correctly, and who qualifies and who's not, and ultimately fight the corruption and insecurity in other third world class countries. This is really important. So in this next topic says, la guerrilla controla la seguridad de los ciudadanos. La guerrilla, who's la guerrilla? La FARC. The organized crime controls the security of the citizens. Look what he says right here.
En el año 2018 yo entro a trabajar con una empresa contratista. Se gana la licitación de un contrato en Arauca, la pavimentación de Tame Puerto Rondón.
In the year 2018, I go to work with a company of, you know, a civil construction company, and they wanted to make some roads. So we win that, you know, election as a private company, we win that election for us to the government to give us the money so we can start building roads.
Para nadie es un secreto.
For nobody is a secret.
Para uno poder trabajar, allá hay que pagar una extorsión.
For order for us to work in Colombia, everybody has to pay a number, has to pay $1, has to be an extortion to these groups, these radical leftist groups, to the guerrilla. And I asked immediately a question. Over there in Colombia, everything is moved by the consent of la guerrilla. La guerrilla is La FARC. La FARC is an organized crime. Doesn't it resemble a little bit of what is happening in our borders? Doesn't it seem a little bit of what is happening in our borders? How are we, little by little, are understanding that the organized crime, it is controlling the other side of the United States of America, and ultimately, it's also controlling our border in Mexico? Doesn't it look exactly the same, people? It is exactly the same as what is happening over there. Look what he says over here. And also the governors, they have to talk to the consent of the organized crime for them to do and for them to govern our country. La FARC has control absolute of the organized crime in Colombia. And then look what he says right here. That is extremely important for everybody to understand. Why I change immediately the subject, because this has been not only a rumor, but it's also have been a reality. Terrorist groups from the Middle East have entered Chile, have entered Venezuela, have entered Argentina, have entered Colombia. What are these terrorist groups from the Middle East doing in South America? There's a lot of them in Chile, and they move little by little through countries that they are communist countries. As this man saying, terrorist groups have entered from the Middle East to our country of Colombia to train the leftist radical organized groups. Hear this out, because this is extremely important for you guys to understand. I'm saying there's a big problem right there at that border of Arauca with Apoya, Venezuela. There's a big problem over there. What is the reality and how much is the truth that there's terrorist groups from the Middle East entering your country and going in and operating in your country? And look what he says right here. Look, talking about the migrants, yes, it is true. There's a lot of migration in that, in Arauca, particularly in the border between Colombia and Venezuela. There's a lot of migration. And he's talking about his country, Colombia, with Venezuela. I used to travel to that country. I used to travel a lot to that place. And through the roads and through the streets, I saw romeria, that there's a bunch of people. I used to see, hundreds of people, walking. I saw people walking, if it does not even matter if it was in daylight or at night. Sometimes I saw 100, sometimes 200, sometimes 300 people walking. And, we used to drive by and see 100, 200 people, and then we drive by 30 minutes and we saw another bunch of 300 and 400 people. What does this tell you, people? It tells you that this mass migration, it is a huge effect of the globalist compact of immigration. This is a mass migration that is occurring through South America. A lot of people, I was watching Anthony's live feed the other day as a congressman was talking to him in the border of, I think it was Ciudad Acuña. I don't know what part of the United States. I think it's Del Rio. And the man was saying, we need to study how these people are getting pushed. Why are these people getting pushed? Why are these people coming from South America all the way over here? Who is pushing this? The globalist compact of immigration. This is what it is. This mass migration and every border that you see right here, it is consistently occurring in South America because we still have open borders. You have open borders in Venezuela with Colombia. You have open borders in Chile with Argentina. You have open borders in Paraguay, in Uruguay, in Ecuador, in Panama, in República Dominicana, in Nicaragua. You have open borders on every place because all of them, they are part of the globalist compact of immigration. As soon as 154 countries signed that globalization of migration, people started mass migration into the north. Why the United States of America? Because it's the only country that respects immigration law. And it is the most difficult country, one of the most difficult countries to migrate legally, quote unquote, legally, not through a mountain, not through a sea, not through a jungle, legally. So this is the effect and cause of how this is not being stopped. And it is not stopping right now. It is not stopping right now. It is consistently. This is a clear example to you guys on how a migrant from Colombia is telling you it is consistently. You find people, you drive 20 minutes, another 300 people. You drive 20 minutes, another 300 people. You drive 20 minutes, another 500 people. Like it's continuously. And people are like, where are all these people coming from, man? There's a lot of people. It comes from those particular places where the borders are open. But listen to what he says right here, specifically this part. And I say by experience, but because what I lived it, I saw it. But these groups from the Middle East, look what he says about these groups from the Middle East. This is important for you guys. These groups from the Middle East, and he says this. There are the government of Colombia or the leftist radical groups of Colombia. They are bringing them to train them. Wow. Amazing. So these terrorist groups from the Middle East that they're coming, they're bringing them into Colombia to train them. Train them for what? For why you want to train people? To continue with a war? To continue with terror? To continue to extortion? To continue to oppress? To continue to win land little by little? This is unbelievable. He's telling you these radical terrorist groups from the Middle East, they're bringing them into Colombia to ultimately, their number one purpose is to train the leftist radical groups. Holy cow. And look what he says next. Yes, he's saying, like I said, groups of the Middle East, they're bringing them to train them. And he says, yes, like not too long ago, the military was also, bringing people to train the military. It is exactly the same. The leftist radical groups, they're bringing intelligence from terrorist groups from the Middle East to train them. Those are the ones that they're incursionating, and those are the ones that they are now training the leftist radical groups in Colombia. Wow. Holy cow. Holy cow, man. It's just, it's just unbelievable. It's just incredible, this, man. How all of this information that we already know, but it's ultimately it's mind-blowing because you see this insecurity of the borders continuously, and you see the left and the United States of America saying, oh no, there's nothing going on, everything's okay. No, it's not. You don't want a border, you want open border. Look what he says right here. He says we are living something, and this, I will leave this part of this interview last. We are living something almost like Venezuela. We are transforming into Venezuela. Remember, this is why it's so important, this interview, because if you get to know Venezuela is right here and Colombia is right here, they are neighbors. It's exactly what is happening to the United States. The United States is right here and Mexico is right here. We are neighbors. Look how much the impact of a third world country, it is so impact into Colombia that is kind of like a third world, second world country. How it is, all the violence, all the delinquents, all the insecurities, all the economy, all the communist ideologies are rushing into that country. Doesn't it look like a little bit of what is happening to Mexico in the United States of America? Insecurity of the borders, cartel activity, no border security. This is why border security and practically respecting law, it is so important between countries that they are neighbors. Look what it says right here about Colombia and Venezuela. He's Colombian and his neighbor country is Venezuela. Look what it says right here. We are living something remotely close to what is happening in Venezuela. The government is manipulating the channels of information. What the hell? What is it going on? What is going on right now in the United States? Censorship, right? Censorship, right? Freedom of speech. Your First Amendment that is trying to take it away. It is exactly what happened in Venezuela. Look how all that, it is trickling. It is a domino effect into Colombia. They're taking away the channels of communication, he says. Look what he says next. And they're taking away the fountains of information so they can smoke screen everything that is happening. Doesn't it look a little bit like CNN, MSNBC, PBS, all these tabloid channels that they're saying, you know what? Nothing is going on. Everything is all right. The leftist media. Doesn't it seem like a little bit like what is happening over here? This is why it's so important, this interview. Look what it says right here. And he's saying, yeah, you know, when the protests were being done, remember when we were doing videos of the protests back in the day? And he's saying, oh, yeah, when the protests were being done, everybody, the government, they were saying, oh, the protests are peace, they're peaceful protests. Nothing is going on. Everything is okay, you know. And it was a lie. And the corrupt police, you know, they say not all the police are corrupt, but the ones that they're corrupt, they were killing citizens and dropping them at a river. And these are people that they are protesting peacefully. And they were peacefully protesting to declare their rights. Why they were protesting? It was because they were trying to put a tax on the basic foods and basic needs of the Colombian people. So the Colombian people said, we're not going to accept this. And the corrupt politicians and the corrupt police started to oppress the population and ultimately, in some cases, kill the population. And he's saying, oh, the government was smoke screening all the information, and they had control of all the channels of information for people to make them understand that everything was okay. But look at this video that we recovered. This was a peaceful protest, people. Look at this cop, how he's being violently, almost, oh my God. It's amazing. It's just unbelievable, isn't it? How important it is to have border security. How important, people, it is to have border security. How important it is to have border security. It's extremely important. It is the number one thing. The number one thing. If you don't have border security, and if you don't have a process for a mass migration, this is a mass migration. You need to have biometrics. This is why the past president, Donald Trump, which I saw him speaking the other day with Governor Greg Abbott. And I will tell you, I'm a huge follower of the president, ex-president of the United States, Donald Trump. I became a follower after. You know, I said it quite many times. I did not used to like him at first, but then, you know, started talking to people that they were educating me on what he was doing. And I started finding out all that what he was defending. It is exactly what it was happening to us. And I heard him speak the other day, and my God, he looked like he's still running the country. You know what I mean? When every part that he was sitting at, you still will hear him out and say, like, this man is still running the country. He's still acting like a leader, man. And you were watching Governor Greg Abbott, like, looking at him like, please come back, please come back, please come back. This is why, people, these migrant camps, these things that they're occurring at every border, in the border of Juarez, in the border of Reynosa, Tamaulipas, Matamoros, in the border of Acuña, in the border of Arizona, in the border of Tijuana. This is why these migrant camps, they need to, they're shelters. This is where people need to go, to a shelter. They don't want to go to a shelter because there's a process that is legal. There's an hour that you got to go to sleep, an hour that you got to wake up. They make you go to work. They make you do extracurricular stuff so you can maintain the shelter, clean. People don't want to go to shelters because you saw what I reported two days ago when I was at the migrant shelter. Migrants were saying, we don't want to go to shelter. It's worse over there. No, it's because there's rules and there's regulations at a shelter. You don't want to respect that. This is why it's so important, border security, as this interview that we just put on for you guys. It's so important. But look at this, what has been happening at the migrant camp. After everything blew up that we reported the other day about a migrant from Haiti being attacked late at night by a coalition group that is controlling that migrant camp for more than 2,500 people in our city of Tijuana with American activists. Look what has been happening. Look at all of this horrible, horrible stuff that has been happening. And after that, it was a time bomb. All the information exploded. Uniradio, that it has been one of the channels that has been more accurately with us, ultimately, reporting on specifics of situations inside of the migrant camp. Look what they report on this. This was released on the 30th of June. And they say a woman migrant has put a complaint that they intended to rape her 2 times. She's asking for help. First and foremost, for God's sake, when is the Mexican authority going to take over this migrant camp? This migrant camp, they already said that they're going to dismantle it. First and foremost, because they are going to reopen again and regularize and normalize the border entry, going back and forth. So everything is going to go back to normal. Second of all, this is a complete disaster, and it was a complete disaster since it started. And 4 months ago, I said to you guys, oh, they're planning on, I remember the first day that I went, and there was a mass of people right there. And when they started saying, we're not going to move from here, I said, it's done. They're going to camp out, and they're not going to move. And certainly, all the American activists started bringing tents after tents. And after that, they will not leave. They took over one spot, they took over another one, and they started extending and extending and extending and extending. Nobody was having control of it. There's now evidence with the drone that there's distribution of drugs. There's abuse towards children. There's abuse towards minors. And there's intent to rape. This is a migrant that reported that 2 times they have intended to rape her. Second of all, what the hell are you doing? If they already intended to rape you 2 times, get out of there. Go to a shelter. I don't feel secure at a shelter. You're going to be better than being intended to be raped at a place where there's no law. It's lawlessness. There's no intention to protect you. Nobody has the intention to protect you. This is how it is so ironical. You were hearing the other migrant the other day, and she was saying, oh, I don't want to go to a shelter. Over there is worse than over here. But she was ultimately contradicting herself by saying, by having a discussion with another migrant from Haiti saying, oh, your friend the other day tried to hit me, and if it wasn't for the police, I would have been hit. Hold on a minute. You said that you felt secure right here more than a shelter. And then she's saying, oh, also they try to remove us. This group that is controlling the migrant camp, they try to remove us also. Hold on a minute. You told me that it's more secure right here than a shelter. Also, they try to abuse me, one more time. And, hold on a minute. What is it more secure for you? This is about security for the migrants. These people, a lot of these cases are legitimate cases. A lot of these cases are legitimate cases. And, it's all about security for people. This is insecure. And the American activists and nonprofit organizations, and there's a question right here that I will love to answer. Melinda Scott says, Oscar, is there enough room for all these people at your shelters? There's one, and I will give you an example of what happened. Thank you for asking that and reminding me of that. But I will tell you, this is the number one thing. Security. But because of these American activists that they are so hungry for the $4 billion that stupidly and incompetently Joe Biden said, I'm going to give them to the nonprofits. This is the reason why they don't want to move. So the activists are saying, do not move, do not move. Don't. As you're recording, you're hearing agitators going around and saying, no se muevan, no se muevan, no se vayan, no se vayan, no, hasta la muerte, a la guerra, que corra sangre. They're yelling, we're going to war, let's draw blood, do not move, let's stay here. So the people that are actually concerning about their safety, the people that they actually want to do things right, the people that they actually want to know if there's a legitimate case or not, they're right there and they're hearing, oh, don't move, we're going to war, let's draw blood, no se muevan, guerra, guerra. So you're like, what the hell? Oh, okay, I'm not going to move. He's saying it, I'm not moving, Juan. That's how the case is. If the Mexican government would have had the authority of this shelter, this would not be happening. The abuse towards migrants, it is horrible. And we don't wish no bad on no migrant. This is horrible, people. What has been happening towards women. This is what I've been exposing, and this is why I get attacked more by American activists than the own organized crime, for God's sake. You got a Mexican reporter being attacked by leftist tabloid writers, racist leftist tabloid writers, that they're making fun of my accent, but they're not reporting on this events that are happening at this migrant camp. Nothing is going on at the caravans. Nothing happens in the caravans. The caravans are clean. No, Oscar, nothing happens in the caravans. It's a lot of child trafficking. We advocate to stop child trafficking, for legal migration. We advocate for security of the people and security of the migrant women, that they are being raped, they're being abused, they're being sold, they're being lied to at the Canal of Panama. Why don't you talk about that? You lying pieces of crap. Nobody talks about it. No one want to talk about it. You don't talk about this right here, that the migrant almost got raped 2 times, for God's sake. How bad of experience it is. And you don't want to close this shelter. You don't want to close this migrant camp. Holy cow. Where? When it has this going to end? And a person asks, do we have a shelter for them? There's a governmental shelter that I have shown multiple times for capacity of 2,500 people. It's exactly the capacity that they have right here. The other day, and the day that it was the fight, and the day that it was the protest, that we went and broadcast, this woman stood alone with all her courage. That is the woman that is in charge of that shelter. She stood alone in front of all of that and told all the migrant camp, please do not believe the lies. And she's specifically saying about the American activists, do not believe the lies that they're going to cross you over on the next day. Do not believe the lies that it's going to be open on the next day. It's not going to be open. Come to a shelter. Come to us. Live secure. Live close to us. Your case can be heard from there. And immediately all the agitators started, no es cierto, no es cierto. No es cierto. No le crean. No le crean. No, it's not true. Do not believe her. Do not believe her. No, stay right here. Those are the ones that they're working with, these activists. This is why I've been saying those activists need to be, returned to their country of the United States. These activists have been on a watch list of the government of the United States of America. And you have them on the migrant camp operating and leading people. They have been on a watch list unfairly, Oscar Blue, because of the right wing and the Trump administration and the systematic racism that they're. Come on, get the hell out of here con tus lloriqueos. You have been on a watch list. You were on a watch list. You're not supposed to be around migrants because you were investigated for your illegal or irregular activities in the camps. And you got these activists that they're close to migrants. These are the ones that they are keeping those migrants there. They forgot about the purpose of helping. They forgot about the purpose of going and helping the children, going and helping the women, going and helping legitimate cases. They forgot about that, these activists, and they got greedy, and they were also ultimately their number one projection and objective. It is the 4 billion. Who are you trying to lie, man? Who are you trying to lie here? Who are you trying to lie? Your number one purpose is the $4 billion that Joe Biden ultimately has put right there on the table for nonprofit organizations to take over and eat. This is one case of a woman, put in a complaint that they intended to rape her. For God's sake, how awful is that? And this is another case. Look at this case, man. This was released on the 30th of June. And it says right here, again, by Uniradio Informa. This article was released on the 30th of June by Uniradio Informa, written by Octavio Favela, that he has done a phenomenal job. Congratulations, Octavio. You're phenomenal, man. It says, mother cries, and she is depressed. Lamenta. She cries. She feels depressed. She feels horrible because of her daughter has contracted or has been infected by the measles. And she also puts complaints that they're migrants, that they're abusing migrant little girls. This is huge. Why the leftists? Why the leftist media? Tabloid writer. Oh, Oscar Blue is a MAGA clown. He has a conviction. He had a drug conviction back in 2008. He got busted, and he got deported to Mexico. And he is inadmissible to come back into the United States of America. The only way that he can come back is just by the Trump administration giving him a pardon or, informant, something like that. What the hell? Whoa, wait with that word, man. You just put my life at risk and my family's life at risk. Something happens to me, you're going to be held accountable. Oh, no, he's reporting hysteria at the border, and he's just creating hysteria at the border, and he's a conspiracy theorist, QAnon. These are that exactly how I just spoke. These leftist tabloid writers, that's how they speak about this situation. Imagine that. Do you hear? And I want to basically talk about this. I will ask a question to the audience. And I will ask this question to the audience right now. And I want to know if you guys have heard any leftist media or this tabloid writer or all these leftist tabloids, the Daily Beast, Democracy Now, all these leftist tabloids, have they spoken about this abuse? I'm waiting. I used to love when Will Ferrell used to impersonate Alex Trebek, man. You guys remember that? Those were the good old days. when Alex Trebek used to be impersonated by Will Ferrell. It was just the best. Remember when Will Ferrell, like, it was just the best. I just put the Jeopardy music because I'm waiting for your answer, really. This is QAnon. He's creating hysteria at the border. I'm still waiting on you to respond or to say something about this. So there's a spread of measles now in the migrant camp. There was also a spread of COVID in the migrant camp. It's horrible what is going on. The sector of health has arrived yesterday. And the leader of sector of health of the state of Baja California arrived yesterday to the migrant camp to give solution about, possibly, cleaning up the migrant camp. And he gave a solution, and he said the only way is to depopulate this place, is to completely eliminate this migrant camp. It is unhealthy. It's not this, there's no hygiene. It is dirty. You got excrement on parts of the sidewalk. You got more than 500 kids on this migrant camp. And you got now a spread of measles in the camp. Do you know how bad? It's a lot of diseases in one little place. All the things that we have been reporting with the neighbors around the migrant camp, speaking about child abuse, speaking about drugs, speaking about the Maras, the MS-13s taking control of that migrant camp. All of that we have been talking about for months and months and months. Now it's coming up to light because all of the mainstream media has picked it up and said, this is out of control, man. This is a reality. This is too bad. This is too bad. Thank you so much, Will. God bless you. And you're still here. This is horrible. And this is the reality right here. It says mother feels awful because her daughter just contracted the measles. And she also reported a complaint about abuse of migrant little kids, little girls. How much of evidence do you need? How much evidence do you need? I just want to know. How much evidence do you need? So the speculation now has been strong. And this is what they're saying about this migrant camp. For everybody that is joining in, how's everybody doing? Oscar Blue right here. For everybody that is joining in, thank you so much for joining. Buy me a coffee. It's on top of the link if you guys like to contribute to our work. So they are going, specifically this article came out by Alfredo Alvarez Noticias. It's saying that they are going to take out and they're going to relocate all the people in the migrant camp of El Chaparral. They're going to relocate every single one of them. And the article says this. In 15 days, we are going to finish the vaccination towards 18-year-olds. And we are expecting to reopen the port of entry of El Chaparral because the borders possibly are going to reopen on the 21st of July. And right here, he emphasizes on something that we have been talking about for months. That is, they already detected distribution of drugs and also the MS-13s they're operating in El Chaparral. They have 300 more spaces in different shelters, but they are also now signalizing that they are going to relocate them in some different places. It was bound to happen? Yes. It was going to happen? Yes. Was it correct to be there? No. Who had them there? Activists and nonprofit organizations. And the lawyers also telling them, oh, you know what? I have your case right here, don't you? Throw them money out the bridge. So practically, they want to relocate these people. Now, the other day, something big happened at the city. And this is to emphasize how important it is, border security, not for the United States only, but also for Mexico. Because a lot of Americans get immediately butthurt when I start saying the truth, and directly truth to you guys. We have a lot of ex-convicts and a lot of convicts that they're running out on pursuit by the federal government. They're running away from the law or from warrants for their arrest. And, they're running away from their warrants, from their arrest, from the United States of America to over here. And this is a case from yesterday, from 2 days ago. This guy was gunned down as he was shooting aggressively towards the municipal officers because they found him. Let me just get the screen right here, and the correct screen. This guy, let me get him right here on the screen. Let me see if this guy, yes, this guy right here. This is the guy that it was running away from the authorities of the United States, and he was hiding over here in Mexico. We have a lot of cases like this, thousands of cases right here in Mexico like this. You have a lot of Americans that they're wanted in the United States of America, and they're running away and they hide in our country. This is Anthony Lucky Luciano. He's an American male. He was born in July 23rd, 1968. He's, he was wanted for sexual abuse with a minor of 14 years old. So he was wanted. And Mr. Lucky Luciano, that he was wanted in the United States of America for child abuse towards a 14-year-old, caused this the other day. They found him, and immediately he was gunned down in our city of Tijuana. And you can hear, actually, this is from a parking lot. You can hear, actually, it's a 15-second clip. You can hear, actually, you can hear actually the gunshots of this guy going at it with the municipal police of Tijuana. And it is amazing how we need to, this is the number one thing. And for everybody, we need to operate in Mexico exactly like the United States is operating. The United States is really difficult to cross legally into the United States of America. It is. You need to make a line. Sometimes it's for hours to cross. A little bit more agile because the United States has total deficiency on times. Yes, it has. But we need to have more border security as is for Mexico. Why? Because these kind of situations, and I have shown so many times I have shown this kind of cases that Americans, that they're running away from the law and they're hiding in Mexico. They're escaping from the federal law or from warrants for their arrest. And they stay in our country for the longest of time. And when they get caught, something like this happens, and innocent people get shot also because this is downtown. This is La Calle Segunda. That is a really transitated second street. That is one of the most transitated streets in our city. Taxi drivers and multiple businesses and population consistently moves on that particular area. So it is just this guy just shooting left and right in the middle of nowhere. It is just horrible. And it is because we don't have border security coming back. Everybody can enter our country and they can go back to the United States as they want to. So If we are exercising, if the United States wants border security for their country, Mexico needs to also ask for border security for their country also. Always your country first, and always border security first. Without no border and without no security, you don't have a country. I have said this before, and I have said this multiple times. And this is one of the cases, one of multiple cases, people, that we have been, talking about this. And I don't like to, I don't like to get into these kind of subjects, because these kind of subjects are, so for some people, they're kind of like, oh my God, Oscar, now you want to talk about that. Now you want to talk about that. But let me just remind you guys, because a lot of these leftist liberals, they're saying, "Oh, Oscar, now I received a message the other day." I received a message the other day on my inbox, and it's like, "Oh, Oscar, so every night you are now preaching the Lord." Not preaching the Lord, man. I say, before you go to sleep and when you wake up, realize this: God loves you. God created you beautiful, and God loves you without no color, without no distinction. God loves you. And I put versicles of the Bible, and I can put versicles of whatever the hell I want. Is my platform, man. If you don't like it, get out. What does the Bible talk about migrants? Have you read the Bible about migrants? What does it talk about migrants? Let me just read this and stay with me for a little bit, because we have the leftist liberals. They say, "Oh, you want to talk about the Bible? The Bible talks about migrants." But they don't tell you that the Bible also talks about child trafficking and human smuggling, and that also the Bible talks about obeying the law. So let us go step by step. Before I go, I wanted to read you this. And it says, "Love refugees as yourself." Look at all what it says. It says, "When a foreigner resides among you and your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt." Leviticus 19:33-34 says, "Leave the food for the poor and the foreigner. When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap the berry edges of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Do not go over your vineyard and second time to pick up the grapes that have fallen. Leave them for the poor and the foreigner." Says God loves the foreigner. That was Leviticus 19:9-10. God loves the foreigner residing among you. He defends the cause of the fatherless and the widow, and loves the foreigner residing among you, giving them food and clothing. And you are the love, who are foreigners for yourselves. We're foreigners in Egypt. Deuteronomy 10:18-19. Leave your door open to the traveler. No stranger had to spend the night in the street, for my door was always open to the traveler. Job discussing his devotion for God. Job 31:32. Invite the stranger in, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Matthew 25:25-36. I'm quoting the Bible. So the leftist liberals, they talk about this specifically. And they refer that to the mass migration and the caravans. But they don't want to talk about this. I understand that we need to be attached to the Bible and help our neighbor and help the migrant and help the person in need. But in all this massive of influx, there's a lot of trafficking. There's a lot of evil and demonic and godless people, and people that they don't apply to the law. Why don't you talk about what Proverbs 31:8-9 says about child smuggling or smuggling? It says, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy." You don't talk about that, right? No. Oscar Blue is talking about what is going on in the caravans. Oh, no. That's not a lie. What is happening right now at the migrant camp? A woman being intended to be raped 2 times. Complete disaster in the migrant camp. Activists taking advantage of these situations to make a profit. That's not attached to the Bible, right? Why don't you talk about why these leftists, they don't talk about this in the Bible also? What does the Bible say about obeying the law? No. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this, the mass migration. Romans 2:13 says, for it's not the hearers of the law who are righteous before God, but the doers of the law who will be justified. 1 Peter 2:13-17 says, be subject for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether it be to the emperor or supreme or the governors as sent by him to punish those who do evil and do praise to those who do good. For this in the will of God, that by doing good you should be put to silence in the ignorance of foolish people. Live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover-up for evil. Listen up, liberals, not using your freedom as a cover-up for evil, but living as servants of God. Honor everyone, love the brotherhood, fear God, and honor the emperor. Who's the emperor? Law. Romans 3:31. Do we them overthrow the law by the faith? By no means. On the contrary, we uphold the law. Talking about migration, but you don't even respect the Bible. John 14:21. Whoever has my commandments and keeps them, it is who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and manifest myself unto him. There's legitimate cases of asylum around the world. But there's also a law that it needs to be respected. You're using the suffering of people to abuse a system. You're using the suffering of migrants to abuse a system and to destroy a border. That is going against God. Godless people. We need to help the one in need. Yes, love their neighbor. That's what it says. Love your neighbor. That's what it says. The United States gives millions to other countries. The United States is going to give $4 billion to Central America, but to nonprofit organizations, the ones that they don't respect the law. A lot of these nonprofit organizations, they don't respect the law. They do not respect it. So you're using the suffering of people and you're going against what the Bible says, but you're writing on the Bible when it talks about immigrants. You're using the suffering of people with the caravans when there's a lot of smuggling, child trafficking, and you are watching how the cartel has taken over this incentivization by Joe Biden on smuggling, and you hear it right here on Proverbs 31:8-9. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. But you don't speak up for that. Voy a hacer un video en español en un momento. It's incredible. It's amazing how they use the double agenda. You want to be fair? You want to use the Bible to be fair? The Bible can shut us up in a minute. It can shut you up in a minute. God bless you all. How's everybody doing? Oscar Blue right here. Thank you so much for following. Thank you so much for watching this live feed. Hopefully this live feed in an hour and 9 minutes. We extended our little bit. Thank you so much. God bless you, every single one of you. Every single one of you, man. Have a beautiful, I think it is Thursday today. Have a beautiful Thursday. Buy Me a Coffee is on top of the link if you guys like to contribute to our independent reporting. Thank you so much. God bless. Also, hopefully this information has helped you guys of what, an interesting live video it was. But ultimately, hopefully we will learn from each other. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Rumble, also follow me on Telegram, and follow me on YouTube and Facebook as Oscar L. Blue. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. And like we always say, people, peace and love, because always your country's first. God bless.
Y ya van días y varias semanas.
He hasn't given no response, and it's been days and it's been weeks, and he What do you think, Sarah, this canyon right here?
It's absolutely incredible. I haven't been to Tijuana in a lot of years, and seeing how wide open it is. I mean, I don't know if you could turn the camera around and show everyone just how wide open it is. It's incredible.
A couple of questions. So. Rashida, what is your opinion on the massive child trafficking that is happening? Y espero logren su objetivo de la justicia a su país. Luchen por su país. Say the basically fight for your country. Están bloqueando el acceso. ¡Viva! La Policía Federal o la autoridad nos está deteniendo el acceso y nos está deteniendo el paso para poder cruzar hacia el Zócalo, señores.